We're all set.
Welcome to the May 21st, 2025 Planning Board Public Hearing. This public hearing will come to order. The Planning Board is holding a public hearing to review the preliminary application for Carlisle Brooks Estate, Map 4, Lot 22, a 5-unit subdivision. This is a public proceeding. You have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all the exhibits that are offered. Please notify the board chair if you are having difficulty seeing or hearing the presentation. This hearing is being digitally recorded and broadcast on YouTube. The person speaking will be asked to first state their name and address or affiliation. All questions or comments will be directed to and through the chair. It is requested that you sign the sign-in sheet to document your attendance at the hearing. Could we have Representative from Carlisle Brook please come up and inform the public what you're planning on doing?
Good evening, everybody.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Hope everyone's good. For the record, I'm Eric Sowry from Altus Engineering in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, here on behalf of the applicants. I'm solo today. Everyone else is busy or sick, so no crew with me this afternoon, but that's all right. We're looking at Carlisle Brook Estate, which is at the corner of Walker Road and Carlisle Brook Road, right here. That's the intersection. It's about a 46-acre parcel. The Carlisle Brook itself is down the bottom here, comprising this would be the south side, the south boundary of the property. What we're looking at are 6 residential house lots, single-family house lots, 2 of which are over here on this side of this wetland, and the remaining 4 accessed by a new private right-of-way with a small hammerhead, which will provide access to those other 4 lots. Very simple. Utilities will be underground along the roadway. There'll be a small stormwater management pond right in here to have a decrease in peak rates of runoff for requirements to the abutting properties. And all told, these lots range in size from 5 to about 11 acres. So some of them are pretty hefty lots in terms of area. The parcel is entirely wooded. As I said, some sections of wetland. That's it in a nutshell. We have passing test pits for septics, and that's it. Very straightforward. So just we'll let the public have at it, unless you guys have something for me.
Our comments will come.
You come after.
Yeah, we got to
Yeah.
close the public hearing and then go to the meeting.
Okay.
Does the public have any comments, questions, concerns, or queries regarding the proposed subdivision over on Carlisle Brooks?
I got a few.
Yep, please stand up and address.
My name's John Green, and I live at the end of Carlisle Brook Road, on the other side of the brook, but I abut all that land that goes along the brook, 60 acres down through there. So the first question I have, the main question I want to know is the use on the Carlisle Brook Road, which I went through the 102 pages and I didn't see anything addressed on that road. We have a maintenance agreement on that road and it's not addressed at all. And what I found out of 102 pages, I might have missed it. I see nothing about the maintenance agreement on that road. And also that road is a 40-foot right-of-way, not 50. And there's already 1, 2, 3, 4, and Dennis's new house on there. There's 5. Dennis. There's 4 houses in there now. I have another lot on the right side of the road up against the pond, which has a driveway going into it. There's only 2 places to pass on that road because it's narrow. One of them is on that abuts the land on this, and the other one is down at the brook, which I own that land on both sides of the brook. So in the wintertime, when we have a lot of snow, it's really one lane. So adding those 2 lots on the Carlisle Brook Road, are those lots going to be driveways off the Carlisle Brook, or are they going to be, one has to be, one can be off the Walker Road?
Am I allowed to engage with the public, or does it have to go through you guys?
Through us to him, remember that this is the preliminary application,
Exactly.
not any potential revision that may come after.
Exactly. can I allude to the potential revision which might address his concerns?
Yes.
Okay, we're looking at changing the layout a little bit so that those two lots will access exclusively from Walker Road. So
Both
no,
of them?
Yep, both of them. No impact to Carlisle Brook Road at all.
Not on Colorado.
None. And that's gonna be after the public hearing. I'll show you after, but it's, the notes on the plan, we're gonna rejig the lot configuration. So 2 driveways out to Walker. So the
The
road.
2 lots on Walker Road, what about the one with most of it swamped there where you found some piece of high ground to put a house?
It's
a houseboat.
We're sending a little finger of the lot out to Walker.
So that's gonna be coming off.
Yeah, no new driveways on Carlisle Brook at all.
I mean, I wouldn't oppose it as long as we have a maintenance
Yeah,
agreement.
we're well aware.
I know you told Dennis about the maintenance
Oh, yeah.
agreement, but
I didn't tell you, someone told you.
Somebody told me.
Somebody told you. Yeah, we're well aware of the maintenance agreement, and if there were driveways accessing Carlisle Brook, we'd have to be party to that. I'm not sure how that would work, saying that we wouldn't access it. It's gonna be a restriction in the deeds as well as on the recorded plan, that there'd be no access to Carlisle Brook.
right, the entrance to Carlisle Brook Road is quite narrow with the ledge.
Oh, yes, exactly, so we're gonna tap in.
I mean, you could blow the ledge out of that because you own that side of the road, but.
Yeah.
There's definitely one lane.
This is gonna have a little finger of land come up here, so
Yeah.
the driveway here, and that'll be somewhere on Walker Road. So no access to Carlisle
Are
Brook.
you allowed to put a road through that swamp?
We're not touching the swamps, all of them.
Okay, so neither one of those are gonna, that answers that question. You talk about a existing fire pond in that, somewhere in that 102 pages. In
Yeah,
the
that-
beginning, it says something about an existing
There's
fire
a
pond.
question in there about fire suppression, and if we don't have something on site, we just reference something close. It's not proposed on site, and it's not on site now. So it's a semantic thing that we throw in there just to satisfy the fire chief.
So if you want a fire pond, I own that land around that pond.
We are not looking for a fire pond right now.
You are,
We are not.
you're not, you don't need one.
We don't need one. As far as I know, the fire chief is not interested.
I would go along with putting a hydrant on
Okay.
that brook on my part of the land if you need one or if you want one or.
We'll keep that in mind if that comes up, but it hasn't come up so far. If you're willing, you might as well bring it up to the fire chief anyway. You might be looking for something.
Right. What else do I have here? So we don't have to worry about the road agreement. Fire pond is maybe. I bet you say there's an existing fire pond in your application.
It's not on site, though. It's somewhere down the street, from what I understand. I'm not exactly sure where it is. It's referencing that for fire suppression, we have these existing infrastructure.
The only hydrant I know of is all the way down on Walker Road that it's in the brook of Carlisle Brook that on the hot top.
Okay, that makes sense, but I don't know exactly where that is.
Under the subdivision regulations, page 6, 10.3.3I. Does this mean that 2 lots now on Walker Road are not accessed, are gonna be accessed on the Walker Road? It would be, well, you already answered that. I guess lot 4 and lot 5, that's gonna come off the Walker Road.
Yes.
And the other one you just addressed on the fire pond, because it's on page 6, 10.3.3J, says NA. So, but you don't really know where that fire pond is, but it's not the one.
I gotta, one of the things that has changed is you got the recommendation and request of the fire chief as well as with the road commissioner. Several years ago, we went over and now on larger subdivisions are requiring sprinkler systems in the houses. And that is in the subdivision standard on our page 9. An approved automatic fire protection sprinkler system shall be capable of immediately supplying water to a fire without human intervention. The system shall meet all requirements as outlined in the applicable National Fire Protection Association, NFPA standard. These standards shall include NFPA 13, NFPA 13R, NFPA 13D. The system is required by the state law to be permitted by the fire marshal's office prior to installation. So basically retention ponds, fire ponds on subdivisions are replaced with mandatory sprinkler systems,
So-
which historically has given far superior protection time to occupants of the home to escape and suppress the immediate fire area instead of waiting for a truck to get there and find a pond to refill and pump out.
So those are tanks in the house then, obviously, that hold water.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's several different varieties, from just a battery backup one to automatic battery backup, generator powered. Most of them only go off on the areas that are affected instead of flooding your whole house, because they have 500 to 1,000 gallons, depending on the system required.
I have no problem with you putting in a fire hydrant on my pond. Sarah owns some of the land around there, but I own most of it. You know, if that comes to it, I'm
Yeah. But that was something I
not
can't.
opposed to it.
We made a change years ago to require sprinkler systems.
Yeah.
And that was, the fire chief brought in loads of data, statistics,
Sure.
stating time, damage, and the whole 9 yards. We were like, it only makes sense.
Right.
You know, it's logical to protect your house on new constructions.
Well, that's about all I had, is I was just concerned about the road use and the road agreement. And that part, but if you're not even gonna use it, it's immaterial. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Green. Anyone else? Oh, I thought you came up with a sign ready to give presentation.
That's all, folks. All right, really help it. I was babysat by Bugs Bunny when I was a kid. Won't be cold.
And we are still survived.
So much better.
Do we have any other public interest, comments, questions?
Mr.
Hearing
Chair.
none, I will
Mr.
close the
Chair.
public.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
do we want to bring up the letter that we
Yes.
received from Nick and Sarah Almentrout?
yes,
should read
absolutely.
that.
Thank you very much. We did receive a letter from Nick and Sarah Armitrout dated Sunday, May 18th, 2025, 7:16 PM to the CO and Planning Board, to the Town Planning Board and the Chair. My name is Nick Armitrout. Hopefully I'm not mispronouncing that. Don't want to offend anyone. Together with my wife, Sarah, we own property at 65 Drown Lane, Lyman, map 04, lot 23A, which abuts the proposed Carlisle subdivision estates project to the southeast. We have owned this property since October 2003. We reside since 1998 at 73 Drown Lane, Lyman, map lot 0429. Unfortunately, I am unable to attend the planning board hearing on May 21st. I wish to express my concern specifically for the potential increase in stormwater runoff from the proposed 6-lot project adjacent to Carlisle Brook, and to urge enforcement of mitigation to limit the future potential of stormwater runoff to enter Carlisle Brook for the proposed 6-lot subdivision. The Altuis Engineering 5590 Carlisle Brook Estates Drainage Analysis dated March 19th, 2025 states on page 3 of 3, page 35 of the application, pardon me. Conclusion. This proposed site development of the property located on Assessor's Map 4, Lot 22 in Lyman, Maine will have minimal adverse effects to the abutting properties and the infrastructures as a result of the stormwater runoff or situation. Post-construction peak run rate of runoff on the site will be less than the existing conditions for all now analyzed storm events. The appropriate steps will be taken to properly mitigate erosion and sedimentation through the use of the temporary and permanent best management practices for the sediment and erosion control in accordance with the Maine DEP stormwater standards and standards of engineering practice. Now, how can it be that a 45-acre parcel of land, when it is partially cleared for 6 house lots and related impervious surfaces, this project to have less, capitalized and italicized for emphasis, runoff post-construction and existing conditions? We have observed many extreme weather events while living and farming on Drown Lane, Lyman. Here are existing conditions to our property at map 4, lot 23A, experienced downstream from the proposed Carlisle Brook property is following what is our increasing common 2 to 3 inch precipitation events. And they have presented pictures from March 24th, which is showing, looks like the lower portion of their property underwater. And I'm guessing that due to the date, it is probably spring water runoff on the lower fields. They have one December 19th, December 2019. Again, the lower portion of their field appears to be underwater. That, if you go on aerial views, is down by the river. Then here, we don't have access to the actual video. And here's a video of the same shoreline of Carlisle Brook during a 3-inch rain event in 2019. They give an address. My point in sharing this media is to submit on record that existing conditions downstream from the proposed Carlisle Brook Estates project already experiences significant seasonal flooding. It is not possible for 6 new house lots to be constructed along Carlisle Brook without there being new stormwater impacts created from changes to the landscape, i.e. the removal of vegetative roots in the ground, grading, and new impervious access roads. I urge the planning board, Lyman Code Enforcement to monitor the, and this is italicized, appropriate steps that will be taken to properly mitigate erosion and sedimentation through the use of temporary and permanent best management practices for sediment and erosion control in accordance with the Maine DEP stormwater standards and standards of engineering practice, unquote. Additionally, as an abutter to the proposed Carlisle Brook Estate subdivisions project and 27-year abutter to Carlisle Brook, I request a detailed description, listing, and construction monitoring plan for what the quote-unquote temporary permanent best management practice of sediment and erosion control in accordance with the Maine DEP stormwater standards and standards of engineering practices, unquote, at the proposed Carlisle Brook Estate subdivisions will be and how they will be implemented. Please confirm receipt of this email to the Lyman Planning Board. Thank you, Nick and Sarah Armitrout, 3073 Drown Road, Lyman, Maine. I can attest right now that it has been submitted to the town Lyman Planning Board and read to the public.
Does Mr. Sari want to comment on that?
The design as presented here includes a detention pond up in this section here, which chokes the runoff, provides for a decrease in peak rates of runoff. The road itself also kind of counterintuitively, it doesn't slope towards the river. Doesn't slope towards the back at all. Everything goes to the front, believe it or not, which kind of counterintuitive there, but that's the way it goes. So all the runoff from all this new impervious, including some of these houses, goes up front where it is caught in that detention pond. That allows us to get our decrease in peak rates of runoff, which means town and state standards. So it's quite simple.
Do we have anything else from the public? Thank you for reminding me of that, Kevin. Hearing no others, we'll close the public hearing. Yeah. At this time, we'll open up the State Planning Board meeting. Welcome to the May 21st meeting of the Lyman Planning Board. This meeting will come to order. This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all the exhibits that are offered. If the board votes to go into executive session, the reasons shall be stated. Please notify the board chair if you are having difficulty seeing or hearing. This meeting is being digitally recorded and broadcast on YouTube. In each instance, it is indicative upon the applicant to provide the preponderance of the evidence to demonstrate compliance with the provisions of the applicable ordinance or ordinances. After the board votes on the merits of each project, it will prepare a written opinion which will be forwarded within 7 days. The board works from a prepared agenda and will consider this meeting's event in the following order. Have a roll call. Then we'll have a regular meeting of Carlisle Brooks Estate, map 4, lot 22. Review of the preliminary subdivision application. Number 2, is Mr. Ness going to be here? Yeah. Number 2, Tyler Ness, 1991 Alfred Road, map 3, lot 52. Business contractor 1, business contractor 2, in zoning ordinance not defined. Explanation from legal counsel. Number 3, Justin Tharp, 592 Walker Road, map 3, lot 78-4, subdivision amendment, a land swap. Number 4, set the agenda for the next meeting on June 4th, 2025. Review the minutes of the public hearing and meeting on the website from April 21st, 2025, public hearing and meeting. Review old business, which was the Harper Valley subdivision, tax map 3, lot 87-3.
You said Harper Valley.
Oh, sometimes.
I've been from Harper Valley.
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, no,
I'm
hey,
dating myself.
I think we're all understanding. My bad. Harper residential subdivision, tax map 3, lot 87-3, and portion of tax map 3, lot 87-2, Old Kennebunk Road, 9 lot residential subdivision, final subdivision packet, which has not been completed. Will you join me in pledging allegiance to the flag of our country? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Long may she wave. All right, we'll start roll call with Kevin this time.
Kevin
Change
Bear,
that.
64 Bugging Pond Road.
Cecile Dupuy, 53 Chapel Shores Road.
Kelly Demers, 10 Partridge Way.
Bill Single, 8 Single Lane.
Tim Brevard, 251 Four Farm Road.
Okay, we have a full board and quorum present. All right, and if we could get, where'd you go? There he is.
I'm hiding on it.
Back for Carlisle Brooks Estate.
Well, we're still talking about the plan that's on the board, right?
We're talking about the plan that's on the board, the public hearing, and now if you wish, you can discuss potential changes that have been brought to your attention and address any public concerns that have arisen as a result of the planning board or the public hearing.
All right. Simplifies, complicates and simplifies things at the same time. Pursuant to our last hearing, we took a look at the Carlisle Brook access. And we reconfigured this lot right in here to have a little strip going out to Walker Road. Skirts right past the wetland, very similar to the last one. And the new lot line has the frontage, 375 feet of frontage on Carlisle Brook Road, but no access here because of the wetland. There's also notes on the plan that indicate both of these lots are accessed from Walker Road exclusively. So that's going to be on the plan that gets recorded and in the deeds. And then this one, you can't even physically get there just because the wetland's in the way.
No.
We also reconfigured the road. Used to be a longer road here, right up on this side here. Now it's a significantly shorter road. We did that because we found a whole bunch of ledge as we were walking around out there. So, okay, this is we don't want to blast the heck out of
And
this
you
property.
went from 6 to 5.
We went from 6 to 5, exactly. So we dropped a lot. We also dropped several hundred feet of road. Infrastructure got a lot smaller. So the overall impact is significantly less than the prior proposal. Now we have some lots that are pushing 12 acres. So really nice properties there. Similar to the prior proposal, in this corner, there's a small stormwater pond that provides for our decrease in peak rates of runoff as it goes off to the northeast. Meets all the standards that we can tell. 2 of these are back lots and the rest are standard lots. So we'll have 3 points of access on Walker now. One would be the new road and the other 2 would be these 2 lots in the corner and nothing on Carlisle Brook Road at all. So I think it's a good balance. I think it hits a lot of the points people are concerned about.
Now, as there's so much wetland involved in this, and we are at 5 acres, you're looking to obtain a site location and development permit from the DEP?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
Our impact is not even close to the thresholds for that. Yeah, the threshold is 14 lots. And there are various stages of impact or impervious surface, depending on which kind of watershed you're in, and we don't hit any of it. So no site location, no stormwater permit of any kind.
Now, you've addressed this with the watershed management unit you've addressed this or brought this to the attention of them?
Of who?
Watershed management unit, Bureau of Water Quality, or John Mallory, Maine Gov.
No. No, this is just simply following the rules. They've got a flow chart, basically tells you what you need to do and what permits you need to file for and what standards you need to hit.
Okay.
And we go to, first one, no. We go off to the left, no permit required. Or go off to the right, no permit required.
Because that was something that was brought up as a concern due to the amount of wetland that's on there.
Yep. I will say, as far as the erosion control plan that we discussed last time, I did find the person's cell phone for York County Soil and Water Conservation. She never returned my call. So, so that's where I'm at with that. But I'm going to keep trying.
Okay.
So that would be a condition.
I have a question. On the 5 lots, you said that on the Walker Road side, the land slopes towards Walker Road.
This section here, there's a hill right in here. So this section goes towards Walker and then off to the right, and a little bit goes
Where
off
would
down.
the building envelope be on those pieces?
Well, technically, you could send someone all the way down back in here, and it would still meet the building setbacks. I look at the topography, and I see right up on the road is probably the best spot.
So
But
that again would keep the water away from
going
flowing
towards
down.
the front, exactly.
Oh, this is the old one, not subdivided.
That's the old one, but the topography is still in there.
Is that, did you provide us with a revised?
I haven't submitted yet. I have them with me if you guys want to see them.
I got one right here.
Okay.
So that's the old one that you got right there.
I'm curious with the revision of the lot going from 6 to 5 and the creation of that pork chop lot, what would be entail making that a right of way from one of the lots to only do 2 curb cuts versus 3?
So make this little stem a right of way.
Yeah, so that,
It's possible. I'd have to look at the lot sizing, because this lot on the corner is exactly 5 acres, which is your minimum. I'd have to take a peek at it. And also look at what the fire chief wants for a turnaround. If there's no turnaround, I could just cut this piece off and call that a right of way, and that's it. Or we can do an easement, no right of way, and then we can have a common drive. So this lot right on the corner taps in via easement, and they have a little section right here and 1 curb cut. That's totally possible.
that's, less interference, less
Yeah,
chance of,
absolutely.
again, my concern, residents, kids, school buses.
Yeah, the fewer number of
winter-
cuts, the better off everyone is.
Yeah.
I'm sure the fire chief's gonna want to turn around at the end.
Exactly. So I think
He's gonna want that.
Yeah, I'd rather have an easement there and just have one little connection right in here, maybe 50 feet back from Walker Road, when you've got a little 50-foot section of common drive that they have to share maintenance responsibilities for. So that's easy. So rather than going the full right of way, I think that'd be the quickest and cleanest way to do it.
So deed-wise, for those 2 lots that abut the Carlisle Brook Road, would be that they cannot create an access there at any time.
Exactly, yeah, and there's notes on the plan right in here that talk about this lot accessing off the new road here, and these 2 only from Walker. This is the plan that gets recorded.
Yeah.
So, and obviously be the deeds as well.
Okay, so the second lot on Walker Road is gonna have its own access, separate from the,
This guy here,
yes,
this one would access, all 3 of these would access off the new road, I want to call this little private
Okay,
driveway.
so-
essentially.
okay,
So you have, right now, it's 3 curb cuts. If we go with this common drive scenario for 4 and 5, these guys on the corner, then we have 2 curb cuts
okay.
for all of that frontage.
Yeah,
I guess that's a great idea.
So are these lots now gonna meet the required road frontage?
Yeah, everything meets all the requirements.
The
Yeah.
road frontage is there?
Yes, except for these 2, which are technically backlots. Which is something that we discussed at the last meeting.
and Any changes to the applicant, you'll have all new surveys done
New everything.
with
The whole
the,
plan set just with this layout.
Yeah.
Yep,
with the setbacks and
Oh,
the
yeah.
potential,
Yep. Whole 9 yards, new drainage.
don't say that. I'm kind of liking the changes revision. I like the idea if the reduction of the curb cuts access kept it to a minimum. It alleviates the owners on Carlisle Brook, because that was one of our concerns
Yeah,
we had expressed to
absolutely.
you.
Yep.
Was ingress egress from municipal services, fire truck turnaround was a big thing. Another thing that I had addressed was making sure that any changes or intrusion on the road was agreeable to the other members of the Carlisle Brook landowners, then that they would have been a road maintenance agreement extended. So we were looking out, and I'm glad to see that changes have been made that could be beneficial to everyone, with the exception of the retention pond put in there.
Still have the sprinklers though.
You gotta have the sprinklers, but they're not gonna be in the rest of the houses of the sub. What was our other concerns? I did so much talking last time, I didn't get to take many notes.
You know, something I would like to know is the fire hydrant that's on the Walker Road, how far away
Okay.
from this is that?
I will look into that.
I don't know if it helps you, but there is one around like 578 or 580. There's a small tributary that runs to the Carlisle Brook Road. They put one right on the, the Walker Road. They put it right on the shoulder of that road. It's probably half a mile.
Okay.
Guys, give or take, I had to say.
That's the closest one. I think.
That I'm aware of. I don't know of another one. I just know because it's right down the
Yeah.
street from me. So, if it helps you.
The other one is where the Carlisle Brook crosses the Walker Road. There's two.
To the right.
So probably another half a mile further east from that corner.
Oh, before it goes into Lord's Brook, that bridge.
Yes.
Is that good enough, or you want me to do a little digging?
Well, I just wanted to know, that's
Yeah.
all.
I wasn't sure myself exactly where they
Yeah.
were.
Just be a nice piece of information.
Yep.
Yes, it would. Here's this map. This is all gonna change.
So I assume you're gonna redo all of these with the
Yeah,
changes?
absolutely. Yep, everything's already done, ready for submission. I'm gonna get them to this young lady here on my way out.
She'll be thrilled.
Oh, sure. She needs more paper. I mean, her office is just empty.
And again, building envelopes, lot line, wetland delineation, setbacks, location of all test pits and everything else.
Yes, all on the set, everything's there, depending on what sheet you're looking at.
This is preliminary one.
Yeah,
right?
that was, I think that was a sketch plan that was submitted. That's the existing additions, but I think the second page, if you look at it, I think that's
This is the old one.
the
yeah.
old one, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Come a long way since then.
And we don't require something this small. Actually, we do for the private road services and gradients and everything else, because it is minor subdivision or major subdivision.
The roads have to be constructed according to them.
Yes.
So all the details conform with town standards. So
Yeah.
they will be built.
All the side profiles and
Yeah,
everything.
the whole cross section's there.
And I had in my notes of the hammerhead turnaround, but that was for on Carlisle Brook Road, but
Right, but if you notice on the
you're gonna have
proposed
two
one,
lots.
Yeah, we got a little hammerhead right in
You got
here.
one right there.
Yep.
fire chief
Okay,
loves his hammerheads.
Yep. They work.
but the other road is going to access two lots.
This would just be a common driveway, not a road. So it'd be a little easement right in there. And once you get to about there, it's going to branch off.
But you would not be opposed to putting the turnaround all the way in?
All the way in for what? To service this guy? I
Yes.
don't know if we need that for one lot.
Well, even if they come in for the first lot, part way, they're probably gonna wanna drive down to turn around.
I'll take a look at it. I'll reach out to the fire chief, see what he wants.
Yeah, ask him,
Yeah,
that
ask
would be
him.
the best.
Yeah,
It's not that different. The distance, remember the last one skirted around the top of this wet one? The distance from here to here is the same as it was. We actually look at the driveway, it's twisted at 90 and it fit.
Yeah.
So it's not that much different from what we had before.
Yeah. The biggest thing is health, life, safety.
Yep.
And the last thing we want is for something happen and God forbid a truck gets in there, an ambulance, and they can't get turned around.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Yes, Kevin.
Page 12 of the Street Acceptance Design Construction Standards Ordinance. Section 2.1.5.
He can't hear that good, so sorry.
Sorry. Section 2.1.5 on page 12, the Street Acceptance Ordinance. I have a little bit of heartburn with this wording. It says, no additional lots, dwelling units, or uses shall gain legal access or establish legal frontage via the designated easement or right-of-way without first meeting the dimensional and construction standards for private ways specified in section 2.3.1 for the total number of units or lots served by the private way. The Pork Chop lot, the frontage for that lot is Carlisle Brook Road,
That's correct.
which isn't to town road standards.
No, but there's no access from that. And it's an
Yes,
existing.
but it's establishing legal frontage.
Well, it's a legal public way as of right now. So
Yes.
it's legally frontage. Doesn't matter the condition of the road. It is viable frontage.
But it says no additional lots. So you're creating a lot on a non-conforming road.
Well, the right of way itself is still a public way, and we're also not accessing it. And technically, this lot also has frontage on that road right now.
Legal access.
But you're establishing a new lot.
But with no access on that road, though.
Yes, but it's the established legal frontage. That's the wording that I'm having heartburn with. That's just my opinion.
Oh, okay.
215, okay.
Right away.
I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but it's just,
Better to ask questions
Yes.
and get
Right.
confirmation
Yep,
that's all.
than for it to come back and make us lose weight in a lower area.
Okay, so shall gain access, so that's gone, or establish legal frontage on the designated easement or right of way.
Private
It's interesting that
ways.
it talks about private ways, but that's not a private way. It's an existing public road.
Carlisle Brook Road is a
Section
public
that,
road.
It's public right of way.
Page 12.
I think it's,
Thank you.
what in New Hampshire would be called class 6.
We have to plow it, it's probably.
It's not maintained by the town, but I
Private
believe the
ways.
town owns the right of way.
I'm trying to remember if I saw a blue sign or a green sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a private road.
I got the history on that road.
So the,
Please enlighten us.
so the address of the dwelling on that lot would be what? Walker Road, Carlisle Brook
It'd be
Road?
Walker Road, wherever the driveway comes in, because that's what 911 is gonna want. They're gonna wanna know where to go if there's an emergency.
If we could let Mr. Green enlighten us.
So the Carlisle Brook Road at one time was a town road and it was abandoned. And when I did the research before we put our house there, that abandoned road goes to the landowners on either side of the road.
Right.
Years and years ago, I don't know exactly when, I have the records at home. It was a town road.
Right, and it connected with the Old Kennebec Road.
It does, yes, still does. Yeah, but it had been abandoned. In the records, it was abandoned.
So we converted from the public right of way to an abandoned municipality where the access and ingress was deeded over or back to the abutters
Correct,
with ownership to the center line of the road.
correct. And that is a 40-foot right of way, not a 50. I'd also like to point out something on this wetlands on here, Mayor. This wetlands here is from what I always know, standing water does not drain anywhere. I've been living here for 20 years on this. Yeah. This is standing water. All this wetlands this wetlands, there is a pretty deep ravine that runs down by Dennis's land to the brook. So this, I believe, I don't know what the engineer says, all drains into this ravine. It's a deep ravine. It goes all the way down to the brook. And I've never seen this drain anyways. It's, did you mention the drain across the street?
No. That one eventually, if it ever floods up, we get a wicked bad rainstorm, it'll flow down towards the bottom of the page through that ravine you were talking about.
Come this way.
Yeah, eventually, yeah, if it ever gets to that point. Yeah,
That's
but-
pretty much standing water.
Yeah, it sits there. Yeah, I think the big chunk on the left sits there a little bit too.
But the ravine that runs down across about Dennis's property line, that, all this drains, that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, that, you can see the dashed line right in here. That's the stream setback, so it does qualify as a stream.
Oh, it does.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't know about the other ones in my district.
And during part of your wetland study, you've checked to make sure that we have no indigenous tree salamander.
No, none of that. So no endangered species, beginning with habitat, came back clean. There was a vernal pool survey, no significant vernal pools.
And those vernal pools are all going to be marked on the survey.
I think that there's a non-significant one right in here, but again, it's not significant, so it doesn't need state protection. It doesn't warrant state protection.
It's just something that, if there's vernal pools, people go crazy over.
Oh, yeah.
FYI, when I worked construction, we had to reroute a stream for a salamander for
Oh, yeah.
a multi-million-dollar hotel project.
It happens.
Yeah.
So as far as the frontage issue goes,
Okay, could we keep it down, please? Thank you.
I think we can look into that a little bit more to try to dig.
I just,
Okay, but I mean, it's one of those things where we're not accessing it. This lot was recently created, Dennis's lot. That has frontage and it does access it. So I think it's probably the same boat.
I do like the idea of the shared driveway.
Oh, yeah, it makes so much
Yes.
sense. It really does.
And then that would fall under 2.3 private way construction standards versus existing.
Yes.
So that would take that right out of the equation. All right. Anything else? Concerns? Tim?
He's got a question.
Just looking at the subdivision standards, it
Hang on, let's-
states that DEP approval is
Page?
required. Page 13, 7.1.
7.1, yes.
If the land occupies an area that exceeds 30 acres, it requires DEP approval.
Yeah, the project itself doesn't occupy that. This is a simple subdivision and it doesn't meet the thresholds. So it's a permit that we don't need. So it can't go after a permit that we're not required to get. I can bring in the flow chart. You guys take a look.
That would be
That's
beneficial.
the easy way to do it.
The more knowledge
Yeah.
that you
Yeah,
provide us,
absolutely.
the easier it goes, so we can go, you can go, oh, here is the flow chart that states.
Yeah.
Page
So we don't
7.
need it, exactly.
Exactly, so that can be checked off and go, okay. Rebecca, do you have anything?
Not at this time, no. No, you pretty much hit on everything I was questioning, so
Well,
I'd like to see the flow chart.
Lots of those flow charts.
knowledge is power.
Yes, it is.
And I'll ask if the public has any more questions, comments?
We're in the meeting. It's not the public hearing.
I'm just opening up. I'm using my authority to confirm that the public has said their piece, expressed their concerns, that we have addressed the concerns that they have expressed to us, either verbally or written. Hearing none, I'll close this at 6:15. And it looks like you have your work cut out for you, redrawing, addressing any and all concerns that were made present to you. And hopefully you'll be back soon and we can get this project
We
going.
can
And
set a date right now. I mean, as I said, the plans are done. and being submitted as I walk out the door.
Yeah.
If you guys want to put us on the next agenda, that'd be fine.
Ooh, how full is our next agenda for June 4th? I know we've got a couple big things coming up.
I think it's pretty full.
This one should be quick when we went over all the issues, and I believe the plans addressed the majority of them.
Let's see, where did my? And of course, you'd have place for any written waivers that you have or you may want, so that we're not saying, oh, you request a waiver on 6.2. Why are you requesting a waiver? I'm not saying 6.2, I'm just throwing it out there for. What is 6.2? Oh, location scale map, yeah.
Eric, shoot me an email tomorrow. I know that I was working on the next agenda. I know it's pretty full,
Okay, well, then they just put
But
it
I-
right at the front, number one.
but I
That'd be great.
currently, come on, can't remember what's on it.
Jim's like, no, I'm gonna go first. Yes, can you shoot your email first?
Yeah, we will need, of course, the recommendations from the fire department.
Yep.
Or fire chief, what he wants, if he wants hammerheads, ingress, egress, whether, I'm almost positive he doesn't want a retention pond put in there.
Yeah.
Which, if he did, that'd be blasting on your part to put it in,
Yeah, exactly.
and whole environmental study and everything else. So. I'm trying to think of how much we got on the plate, how long this would take.
Well, she's gonna look at it for the schedule tomorrow. So we should be set.
The boss will make the call.
Because we have them
Oh.
coming next week. Next meeting.
That stacks are bigger than.
Yeah, is that the gorilla in the room?
That's the gorilla in the room right over there.
I can't give you a yes or no. I'll have to wait to see what is on our plate.
Okay, we'll call it tentative, how's that?
Tentatively placed on the schedule for June 4th.
That works.
All right.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay. Next, we have Tyler Nest, 1991 Alfred Road, map 3, lot 52, business contractor 1/contract business contractor 2, in zoning ordinance not defined, explanation from legal counsel. Can you take private conversations outside, please? Thank you very much. Got to be courteous and respectful to those standing and speaking. Okay, 619. All right, we had some questions last time, particularly regarding, was that?
Employees.
Employees,
Right.
yes.
The number there.
And we did get a response back. And this is
Legal response,
a
right?
legal response from Jill S. Kramer from Burke and Clegg. It says, "Hi, Rebecca. Just following up on your question regarding whether business contractor 2 is limited by the number of employees or just business contractor 1. As we discussed, business contractor 1 and business contractor 2 are not separately defined in the zoning ordinance. Here is the definition of business contractor. Business contractor, business engaged in the provision of services off premise, which has an office and equipment / materials stored on premises limited to three employees, including the owner." Here is their response. "Given that this is the only definition that the town has to work from, I think the town must limit the number of employees to 3, including the owner, no matter what type of application is filed. However, They always got to put in that caveat.
That's the one we're waiting for.
As we discuss, the definition is silent as to whether this restriction is on the number of employees on site or in total. Because this is a land use ordinance, the town only has the authority to control uses that are given at any given site within the town. For this reason, I think that the only interpretation that the town can reasonably have is that the interpretation is for an on-site employees only. Additionally, MMA, Maine Municipal Association, guidance and case law instructs ambiguous provisions of ordinance must be construed reasonably with regard to the objectives sought to obtain and the general structure of the ordinance as a whole. Ambiguous provisions of ordinance must be construed in order to avoid absurd results. And 3, ambiguous provisions are construed in favor of the landowner. It is my opinion that the town is on solid footing in the business contract limitation to the number of employees to be construed to apply to on-site employees only. If you have any questions, please let me go. Kind regards.
Can I just say, as a consultant who's done this for 35 years, can I just pinch myself? That kind of interpretation is not typical. I mean, it's very refreshing, let's put it that way. Rare is the occasion where the person on this side of this podium gets that consideration. So I appreciate Rebecca's effort. I appreciate your willingness to be open-minded to your own ordinance, because it is ambiguous.
We had questions. We work for the town, for the members or the residents. And we want, if we're going to do something, we want it to be to the betterment of the municipality and the landowners and legal. We had questions. We sought guidance. We didn't just jump out of it.
That's the very first legal interpretation I have ever heard that had the word absurd. Because they didn't want you to do anything